Yeah, I'd love to know more where you guys are really focusing on the investment side, right? Are you guys much more on the like launches? Are you just investing? Like, where are you guys focused on that?
So we're really lucky because our focus, like as a team, is deep technology. So we've been through the internet boom and from the beginning, and so we understand like how that happened. Like if you think back at the time, there was nothing really. Like they had to start with like WorldCom and lay fiber optic cable in the oceans, right? Then you needed that data to be stored somewhere. I mean, we had like Infosys, like Sybase and Informix and Oracle creating like the data layer. And then you had to get that data out of the databases. You had the application server layers that had all the protocols sort of bound together. And you had companies like WebLogic create that. And then you needed the middleware from like TIBCO and IBM. And then from there, you had the web servers, and there was a lot of open source that started getting created and operating systems. And then, finally you had the application layer where you started to see, really innovative technology. So when I was at Netscape, no one conceived of Facebook. The big innovation was the dancing baby. If anyone remembers that, there was a little baby that someone figured out how to animate and was dancing, and it crashed enterprise computer systems across the world because it sucked so much of the computing power out to render this baby, because there were no graphics chips, high-end stuff like exists today from NVIDIA and everything. So everything was being built, and at each layer of being built, there were a raft of companies. And each layer rolled out in a particular order because you needed one before the next. And then the next layer built on what came before. So when we think about investing, we think about where are we? Like, where are we in the timeline? So we started in 2018, and where we was there was really not a lot. And what we identified early on is that platforms were going to be very important to create your sort of base layers. And then it was going to be, you're going to start to have interconnectivity, and then privacy, and then scalability and security. And then you were going to get the beginnings of ecosystems that started to be created. And there's a number of really exciting ecosystems now they're created. And then after the ecosystems, you were going to start to see the beginnings of applications. And some of the earliest applications are in the finance area, not surprisingly, because that was the conception of the blockchain to be used for. But what a lot of people don't understand is that goes way beyond finance and way beyond money.
Oh.
This goes to the revolution of not just technology, but the economics of technology and the social impacts that this technology can have. And this is why I got involved. So what really excited me wasn't really Bitcoin. Like, I thought Bitcoin was cool, but it was blockchain that excited me because I was a developer. And I understood the problem that blockchain was solving was this massive problem of security that, like Ernst & Young, we made hundreds of millions of dollars going from General Motors to Ford to Fiat, basically writing a bunch of custom code that connected all this stuff to all this other stuff. It was like really impossible not to have latency and error and fraud and
and every time you make a change, you got the APIs and everything else all have to be updated. And so
it's like job security for Accenture and IBM and Ernst & Young and Deloitte and everyone who does consulting. It's like endless work, because then you get everything just so, and then Oracle comes out with an update and it breaks everything. And then you have to go back and like fix everything again. So you're there forever. And what a lot of people don't get, and which I didn't really understand until I got to the other side and started running software companies and going into these companies to sell software, they would say, look, I would say, well, you've got like a $50 million budget to do this kind of work. And they said, yeah, but 38 million of that goes to maintenance and 12 goes to new stuff, because these systems cost so much money to maintain. And the reason why they cost so much money to maintain is because they're being made to do things that the technology wasn't ready to do. So the fundamental difference of blockchain and what came before is architecture. And the architecture of the blockchain is specifically designed for value exchange. And that means it's highly cryptographic. It is sharded and dispersed and decentralized. It's very difficult to attack head on. And even if you could get into the data, you can't read it. They use the same levels of encryption as we encrypt like nuclear silos with. So what you can do with blockchain far exceeds what you can do with the technology today. And we're at that moment that I was at Netscape where no one conceived of Facebook. So no one has yet conceived of what blockchain is going to do, but it's going to blow our minds.